Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of Talking Through the Medias, and we're doing another after show recap of what's becoming one of my favorite shows ever on the Disney Plus app, Wandavision. This is episode 5. We know the title of it. I don't remember the title of it right now. Let's just call it episode 5 for now while I Google that when I'm not on screen. But I'm here once again. I'm riding solo on this side again. But joining me today is the one and only Amy Newman and Eric Dains. What's going on, guys?
Whoa.
Viva la Dains!
I like that you're like my favorite show ever on the Disney Plus app. It's like, oh, so he likes it more than Mandalorian, maybe.
Maybe. You know what? I'm gonna think about that. Maybe
let it wrap up a season. I feel like what, we're like halfway through. Make sure it doesn't, do you dirty.
You're right. Let me pump the brakes. But what's going on, guys? How's your week going on? It's Friday. We're having fun.
Loaded question, Chris.
Chris, I haven't left the house in 11 months. I don't really know what fun feels like anymore.
What is this fun you speak of in the sun? What is the sun? I don't know. I forget. No.
Hard tell.
Loaded question. Okay, my bad, guys. But while we're still trapped indoors, we still have the Disney Plus app. I feel like I'm doing an advertisement for them. Only $6.99, and The Mandalorian and all the classes can be yours. But right now we're gonna talk about WandaVision, the latest episode, and just give you our thoughts on it. And we're gonna rumor and speculate the hell out of this thing because I have a bunch of doozies. I feel like a lot of things were answered. I feel like I have even more questions, and I'm having a blast. I'm gonna start with you guys though. What about where are you guys at after seeing this episode of WandaVision?
Eric?
Yeah, my main takeaway after this episode personally was that this is no longer a side-by-side property with the cinematic universe. This is actually the stepping stone into what is going to be the new phase that they're doing. This episode in particular really showed that they're going to be doing some bigger things than they have done in the past, and that's impressive personally.
What about you, Amy? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's always interesting because I'm coming from it so much less as like a big Marvel fan, and more just as someone who likes good storytelling. If it works, it works. I liked this episode. I feel like the direction it's going has continued to be interesting. I will say, I think my biggest little caveat, because I kind of had to ask, like with the brother showing back up at the end, I was sort of like, okay, I know that's not the guy, but remind me who that is. So I don't really know where they're going with that, but I will say just a lot of the actual, like, I'm almost a little disappointed that it feels like so much of the mystery of the world is kind of unraveled at, what is this, like the halfway point? Right. And I definitely have a little edge of like, man, this is just going to turn into a big superhero fight. Like, I'm a little disappointed that we've unraveled so much of it so fast. I feel like these last 2 episodes just hit the gas so hard. It was like little like breadcrumbs, little hints, and then it was just like, oh, by the way, here's everything that's going on and like how these people feel about it. And now we're gonna do superhero stuff. So I'm a little less jazzed about the next couple episodes, but I feel like I'm probably in the minority of that because I feel like if you are a hardcore Marvel person, things got interesting.
I see where you're coming from on that. I'm more excited about the fact that we leaned in more on Vision, on his perception of as he's kind of figuring it out and becoming aware of what's going on. I was shocked at the infighting, all the back and forth between him and Wanda. The honeymoon is over, guys. Like, what is going on? Why can't I remember this and that? Why? What's outside of Westview? You can't control me. You want to bet? Sounds like the same argument that me and Joy just had last night. Like, I mean,
are we going to talk about though? I feel like you brought this up at some point, Chris, and I feel like it was a bit of like I hope they don't I almost hope they don't address it. The fact that she like stole his corpse.
Oh yeah, I was speculating that.
Don't love. Well, did she do Did she do the do with his corpse?
Well, I mean, there were only okay. Here's what people are speculating on it, because okay, you notice how it seems like she can't really, for the most part, make something out of nothing. Everything that kind of exists inside that vision, the world that she's made, is something that has been brought in or was there, and then it gets like terraformed or transformed into something else.
Isn't that part of what they established?
I mean, yeah, like when the guy that became the beekeeper crawled through and his line can kind of turn into a jump rope a little bit. Because
didn't they establish too that like even some of the clothes and stuff she had?
Right, like the bulletproof vest got transformed into a 70s outfit. I'm thinking that when she took the pieces of Vision's dead, robot body and brought it in there, then she was able to make a version of Vision from that. Like she wanted him to still be Vision, but it probably came in the bubble and then turned into what she wanted it or needed it to be, maybe. And that's probably why, like, maybe that isn't really Vision. This is just like a clone or a copy of his Vision 2 Electric Boogaloo. Probably explains why he can't remember his life before Westview, because he wasn't alive.
I know it's not the conversation we're here to have, but it does raise the question of what Vision's working with, if you catch my meaning.
What Vision's working with? I mean, what was there on that table in that flashback? I mean, was it like a torso, a couple of, like an arm?
No. I mean, like, they got twins now. Like,
what's Vision working with? Here's the working theory. If it wasn't physical between Vision and let me fix this right here. If it wasn't like a physical thing between them two, then the only other let's speculate on that. Things are not really created from nothing in this world. They're created from something else. She has 2 kids now. Did she take 2 kids and turn them into her kids? Did she?
Didn't they establish? I think they did say like, no, those are her kids. She had twins.
Okay, so
I don't think physically she stole children. So but does Vision have a robopene? No one has answered my question yet.
Exactly. If Vision does not have a robopene, where did the chemistry, I'll put it that way, come from? Where did the Vision goo?
Well, Vision definitely has a robopene. I'll just answer that for all of us.
Thank you so much. That was driving me crazy.
Personally, I think there's one of 2 things going on here. I don't think there's any corpse play going on. I don't think Marvel is going, especially
necrophilia
under Disney, going that dark or icky, especially if they won't do any of the edgier hero lines.
But she kissed a corpse.
But what I do think is happening is maybe she has reanimated him somehow in this hex. We now have a name for the going-ons at Westview. She's either reanimated, I think, kind of altering reality, because that was a big thing of this show, is she is getting more powerful. It's not just telekinesis, telepathy, mind control. It is rewriting reality. But there also was something in this episode that makes me think it's a different thing. The puppy storyline was really huge, and that whole I'm sorry, I know it.
I was so sad about that damn dog.
Let's talk about that damn dog. I'm suspecting foul play on that.
I think it's more of her dealing internally. I personally think she made a deal with the devil, and that's why she's telling the boys you can't just outrun death, or you can't just will death. I think we're going to see Mephisto. I think we're going to see Marvel's iteration of death in this next phase, and I think they're basically setting up the blocks for something really big for that to happen, and that's the catalyst.
Right. Are you implying that Catherine Hahn killed the dog?
I am 100% convinced she murdered that dog. That dog started talking to her.
You know what? Now that you're saying it, the whole like, he ate.
Oh my God! I mean, did you see how freaked out she was when she asked, "Wait, can you bring it back? Because I don't want this dog snitching on me and telling you what I did."
I would be freaked out if someone implied like could bring this dead dog back to life.
There's definitely something more going on with Agnes.
The dog ate the plant and died from it. Dogs eat plants all the time. Like
they named a specific plant. I have to assume there are certain
anthrax.
It was a chocolate plant.
It was exactly. Like that's. I mean, no. Didn't she have like gardening tools in her hand? I'm suspecting foul play. That collar looked extra tight around the dog's neck. And
We were
I
talking
think she
about the dead
snapped.
dog. It was so sad. That dog was so freaking cute.
If I was just to speculate the whole Mephisto, the devil thing, I am now more convinced that it's not mainly Wanda. I think she's just as much of a victim. At first, a couple episodes before, I was thinking it's mostly her. Maybe she made a deal with Hydra, or maybe she made a deal with the devil. Now I'm more convinced that she probably started off making a deal with somebody else, and now is a victim and institutionalized. That's why she was able to go out and come back, because there's no need for me to put a leash on her because she wants to be in here. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's not the puppet master.
No, and I think that's a great point because we need another big bad after Thanos, and going that way where, you have a villain essentially creating infighting and, taking the good guys and making them bad guys essentially is an interesting way to do something a little bit more internal than just, a fist fight, which at this point I think are visually great, but kind of in the realm of storytelling, just feel a little one-dimensional at this point.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be revealed before the very last episode, and then the whole because I think there's 9 episodes for this whole thing. I think Joy was looking that up. I think there's only going to be 9 episodes. We're
a little over
past the halfway point. But it's either if it's a supernatural being, my theories are as followed. That it is the neighbor. What's her name? Agnes. It is her, but she's also a victim. Like she's possessed, kind of a thing. Like in the trailer, Vision kind of freed her mind, just like he did in this episode today in one of the trailers, and she was like, "What's going on?" And then I think whoever the big bad is, whoever that is like possessing, like he's controlling everyone else, but he's possessed her to keep an eye on. The other theory is the Pietro guy, the brother that just showed up. That's him. Just made himself look like a version of her brother. That's the working theory. Or it's the director of S.W.O.R.D. that he maybe possessed him or something or he made the deal.
I feel like he's too obvious though. Like that we've already established. Like he's a bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, because at first he was all like, "Well, what we're gonna do? Let's save this town. Let's look in on this." And then the second Rambo came back, it's like, "No, we need to nuke this bitch. We gotta do." Like he just came from let's help to let's just go and gun blaze. I get it. I mean, you did kidnap a whole town. You got the power you almost beat Thanos. So if you wanted to be a threat, you could be a major threat. So usually in that situation, the government's pretty much going to shoot first and ask questions later. So I don't really blame him all that much, but it would be cool if he was the big bad. Maybe.
I just feel like he's the most obvious choice. Like I feel like there are more interesting.
It's the dog.
It's the dog.
All of the animals. That's that swan, the dog. There's a hidden thing behind that. So that's what I'm thinking.
I will say I was very excited to see their 80s theme song. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I saw the old Michael J. Fox theme in there from, what was that, Family Ties? I saw that. People are saying there was some Full House in the lyrics.
A little. It was like way mellower than the Full House theme song, though.
Like being outside and playing in
well,
the park.
I do think it was funny too. It did strike me kind of funny, like having Elizabeth Olsen with the twins just felt like such a full circle thing for that family.
How much like her sisters did she look when they showed the baby photo? She looked exactly
out
like
sometimes. Oh, Baby Vision destroyed me. That absolutely like killed me.
I would have been okay with, instead of Baby Vision, if they would have just showed Tony Stark and Hulk working on him and making him like.
But that would acknowledge the outside, so you gotta have like.
I mean, that is his origin. I'm like.
But like in her world, it's like the perfect
Baby Vision. I giggled, but it kind of made me feel like it's just like, ew, I don't want to see that. That Baby Vision creeped me out. What do you think about Baby Vision, Eric? Be the tiebreaker.
I loved it. It took me off guard. The more I think about it, the less I'd want one running around in real life.
You don't think they're going to be selling any Baby Vision toys?
Exactly. I think that's going to sell too. But then I could be wrong. It could be the new Baby Yoda if we start seeing
baby,
Well, I don't know.
baby
Well, I
Groot.
think it just worked really well for like that is how
That
those
trope is-
yeah.
yeah.
Not like this is actually what Vision looked like as a baby, but like in the world that has been created here, that's
Yeah.
what that sitcom intro looks like.
It would have been funny if they would have had at first had like a picture of like just a regular kid at that age, and then a picture of maybe him looking in the mirror and it's the baby Vision with the weird face, but then a real kid on the other side or something like that. But they went full on Chucky in a like a little businessman suit. Oh, look at my little man in that little suit. It freaked me out.
I'm curious if we're going to keep pushing decades too. It did cross my mind. I feel like 80s is the last really iconic family sitcom decade.
If they go
'Cause you think 90s sitcoms, I feel like we're getting more into like Friends or like sitcoms about like coworkers and friends and workplaces.
I think so. When we have what episode 6, 7. Okay, so we have what 6, 7, and 8 to deal. I think after 8 or after 7, I think the sitcom. I think we're going to be all caught up.
Yeah.
I think that's
So
it.
I'm just curious aesthetically. I just feel like there's way less of a strong, like if you say like, oh, we're doing a 90 or an 80s sitcom
There's
theme
a lot
song,
of things to
you
reference
can
from
kind
the
of hear in
80s.
your head what that's going to look like. 90s and 2000s, I don't feel like have a strong template to go
No,
off.
2000s would be that fake no, the fake what's
Oh,
it called,
Modern
like Modern
Family.
But that's
Family.
not really a family thing, too.
It's not,
is
but it's
making it
not.
like-
But in the trailer, in one of the trailers, there was a scene where Wanda was talking to the camera like Modern Family. So I think that's
Okay.
what's going on. She was sitting on a chair and she's like, oh, like saying something like clever, like, oh, how much weirder can it get? I don't. It seemed like it was they
Okay.
were doing the fake reality TV show thing, which was
Yeah, I'm curious to see where they go with it because, like I said, I was like, oh, I can't think of like an iconic '90s like vibe for the sitcom.
They're probably gonna go Friends with that.
Yeah.
No, I do hope they keep up with it because I mean it has been fun to kind of put that aesthetic in there and have it kind of work under its own rules. Like
Yeah.
I would be bummed if they dropped that bit of this this early in. It feels like they do have to kind of finish it out with such a strong concept like that.
Did this episode loosely make anyone think of Too Many Cooks from Adult Swim?
I never
Like,
watched
just-
that.
You've never watched it?
Not
Oh, I'm
even a
gonna
little
force
bit.
you to watch that later. But no, like the moment with like the credits going and like
Oh,
the
creepy.
conversation going, but it was
Yeah,
very Too Many
they
Cooks.
argued through the credits. It was like
I loved that moment where she's just like, here's the button, and then like it's like, no, you can't just do that.
that was one of the best, my favorite parts. It was like
That was
she's
really
like,
well
I'm
done.
done with this conversation. Can't you see the credits are already rolling? I'm going to bed. And he's like, no. Stop those credits. Like we're gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
That was
the
awesome. to me.
cracks in this universe are so fun to watch, and that bit with Catherine Hahn asking her if she wants to take it back from the top for that scene and stuff. Just seeing the cracks is so eerie and so it makes you really remember that it's not everything is as
Yeah.
it seems.
Like I said, I hope they don't keep, because I feel like we lose that a little bit every episode. And I think that's kind of my first statement of just like, I don't want to.
You know what I wonder? I do wonder if they're using this a bit as a litmus test because we do have so many TV properties and them kind of going like, we'll do a bit of this strong concept. And if it's met well, we'll keep doing weird stuff like this. But
Right.
if it absolutely flatlines, we can just go back to the Marvel stuff and do that.
Right.
And which is probably what if this is it was only considered to be a one season, like a miniseries kind of a thing, or I think that's probably what's gonna happen. It was just a one time thing. But if it gets popular enough and they're gonna do a season 2, that's the question. Will they go back into the whole hex bubble thing? Will it be they're both on the real world now, and now they're gonna, I guess, deal with whatever their reality is. And it's an interesting question. I could see this only being one season and then just moving us forward in the movies. But
Yeah.
if it's popular enough,
Yeah, I almost hope they don't push too hard. If they tell it, I love a good like, we told the story we wanted to tell in 9 episodes. We have
and
tons
it's
of other
done.
properties we can do stuff with, but like that's that. We're not going to force a second season that feels nothing like the first. I kind of hope if they wrap the story up or lead into like a movie or something.
Yeah, it's supposed to lead into Spider-Man and then the next Doctor Strange. So
Yeah.
let's.
Well, and especially with our spoilers at this point, I think we might have mentioned it earlier, but with that appearance of the other Quicksilver, that is what cemented me thinking this isn't just a TV property. This is very much intact in the MCU, and it is going to go on into their phase. So I can't see them doing this again, or if they do, it's going to be different somehow. Maybe in their What If series, they could revisit this world a bit and
Yeah.
kind of switch it up again, but.
It would have to be outside. There's no bubble thing happening. It would have to be what's going on in the real. I'm sure after this season, if they do a second season, it'll be in the real world, and I guess dealing with the consequences of her actions, maybe. Before we get into the whole Quicksilver thing, but I wanted to go back to the neighbor. You notice how she is the one person that is being forgiven, whether it's Wanda controlling it or someone else controlling everything else. She's the one person that's being forgiven for breaking character, understanding what's kind of going on, questioning things, and no consequences. Like, do you want me to take it from the
feel
top?
like there's a weird level to which she's
seen the kids grow up right in front of her eyes.
Yeah,
not
no,
bothered
that
by it.
definitely makes me believe like maybe she does know what's going on and is choosing to
play
like,
along or
yeah, whether
something.
that's like
She
her own.
looked terrified. She's like, the second she could feel that the cannon was breaking around her, she stopped and asked for permission. Do you want me to take that? Because she looked scared. Like don't blame me. I didn't do that. Like mommy, don't hit me. Like kind of a thing. Like that's what I got from it. I mean, that's me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's something definitely more going, beneath the surface than she's letting on. And I definitely think that's one of the ripcords that Marvel has that they're going to pull out at the last stop. And it's going to, again, a bit change everything or kind of inform exactly what we're doing because this feels like a kickoff. This doesn't feel like a side-by-side event. This is kind of paving the way for what the future is going to look like. And I think it'd be great if Catherine Hahn was a big player in whatever happens next because I can't get enough of
She's
her.
so funny.
But yeah, it was definitely different than that one neighbor in the previous episode who was like chainsawing through the fence. I'm like, that was creepy and the world was a little broken there. But
He wasn't in this episode, was he?
No, that one fellow that works with Vision was. We got that brief.
That was eerie.
Yeah.
Just like kind of starting to understand like the implications of what this means for everybody.
When he got zapped out.
But I'm 100% convinced that she every time she kind of snapped or she saw something weird, she wasn't questioning things. I think she's going a little cuckoo, and she did something to that dog. I'm sorry, she killed that dog. There's nothing anybody gonna say that's gonna convince me that she didn't do it. I'm thinking that she did it on purpose to see what would happen, to see how far she could go, and without geting punished by Wanda.
I disagree, but all right.
But all right, let's go to what was mentioned earlier. The whole Pietro thing. The brother is back. Not only is Pietro back, he was recast. I love the fact that Kat Dennis used that. Wait, what? They just recast him? I like the way she said that. But they used the version of Pietro from the Fox Marvel version from the X-Men movies, and so there's a whole. Forgive me, like Amy now only gives me like 30 seconds to a minute to go nerd sweaty. So I'm gonna use my 30 seconds. So Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's as one studio, then the Fox was a different universe. The two characters that both companies shared the rights to were Wanda and her brother Quicksilver. Both companies were able to use those characters. And they both did. They used them in the X-Men, two different actors, and they used them in Marvel or the Age of Ultron, two different actors. The weird thing about the Fox version was that Quicksilver was a teenager. His twin sister was a baby, so maybe he grows faster in there. But on this side, the Marvel side, they were both the same age. I'm not 100% convinced that we're supposed to believe that that is Quicksilver from that other universe, because at first my mind was blown. I'm like, oh my God, are we doing? I literally did that. I looked at Joy and I said, holy shit, are we doing this? Is this happening? We're the multiverse of madness. We're doing it. I know Tobey Maguire is coming back. I know is Westview going to be a open portal from now on where the X-Men are on that side and the Avengers are on this side. And it's, hey, Wolverine, can you come over here for a second? We need you for an adventure. Okay, like, oh, is that happening or is something else going? So at first, I was thinking it. I was sweating it. I was going crazy. Now I believe he's an undercover S.W.O.R.D agent.
I don't know. I feel like you don't cast that actor on accident, though.
No. I'm thinking that's the reason why they cast him was for that shock effect for us. But I think who he
why
really
would you
is.
intentionally set your fan like, and I don't know enough to be like, oh, this is what it's gonna be. But I feel like you wouldn't want to set your fans up for like, this is awesome, and then go, just kidding.
Oh no,
like,
you absolutely do that. You crush their spirits. You do that. It's only because that conversation that they were having with the bulletproof vest and how everything changes. If we're gonna go in there, we're gonna have to either go in there with clothes that fit the story, the narrative, so it won't get changed. We have to protect ourselves. I think he is an agent of S.W.O.R.D that they tested Rambo's theory out, protected him, and put him in some kind of a little capsule, threw him in there, and he opened it up, and he's pretending to try to get intel. It seems like they talked about that in the real world and it never came up again. And then he just shows up. I think he's a spy. That's just me. But what about you?
But then why would Kat Dennings not be aware of who he was?
Why would
or like Kat Dennings when he showed up wasn't
everybody knows
our guy.
Well, everybody knows who Quicksilver was. I mean, even Rambo knew when she was kind of remembering.
You're saying you think he's someone S.W.O.R.D?
I think he's a S.W.O.R.D agent pretending to be like.
But then why would their reaction be like, Quicksilver's here? Wait, she recast him. They'd be like, oh, our guy's here.
I think that was the joke. Wait, like, so we couldn't get anybody that looked closer, like looked like his brother. We just doing a straight up recast. I think that was the joke. I don't think she knows.
No, but she said it right. Am I crazy?
She said they recast him. I mean, because she's just into watching it play out on her TV.
The way she said it implied that Wanda brought him in as.
Well, but Wanda said when they were having that argument, I'm not doing everything. I can't control everybody all the time.
But I'm just saying, if S.W.O.R.D brought him in, Kat Dennings wouldn't have said that.
I 100% believe that she was joking, being like because she says she's also a fan, even though it's serious and they're trying to solve this.
I disagree. I think that would just be a plot hole.
I think that she just said it out loud because she didn't know that that's what S.W.O.R.D was going to do. I don't think S.W.O.R.D is going to tell Kat Dennings every move they're going to make. I think they're just going to do it.
I think that would read too many people as a plot hole of why wouldn't she at least loosely know what was going on here?
Tiebreaker. What do we think?
I personally think
side with me.
That you are wrong, Chris. I from the bottom of my heart, and I have what I believe to be true to back it up. I do believe this is our Quicksilver from our Quicksilver.
That was the most 2021 statement of all time, though. My evidence is what I have decided I like. My facts are the ones I've picked.
Well, I am
entitled to my own facts.
Yeah.
So
sorry, go ahead.
I have storytelling, and then I have a bit of outside business that backs it up. The storytelling being, I do think this is our X-Men Quicksilver. I think he was ripped from his universe and put into this one. Speaking from a business standpoint, I think it's because of this. Everybody knows how big this pie is. You know, Sony got their hands on it when they loaned Spider-Man to Marvel for a second, and they got in on it.
Right.
This episode, and a reason why I really liked it, was they kept nudging us towards this is going to be the Scarlet Witch that you remember. They powered her up a little bit in this episode. They told us that it's more than telekinesis, telepathy. It's reality altering now. And finally, you know, just on the outside, they've been saying for a while that they've wanted to do X-Men and Fantastic Four for a while now.
But Kevin Feige was also on the record saying that he's not there yet. He has a 5-year plan. It's only been like 3.5 years. He's still not ready to introduce mutants yet. But here's a reason why I think you could be correct, Eric. because I can't admit that Amy's right because she'll just never let me forget it.
I truly don't care that much. I just don't think they're going to put something that feels like a plot hole in a show watched by this many passionate fans. People would just be too mad.
I had to be reminded about something that a lot of people overlooked, and even I overlooked when I first saw it, I first heard it. In the real world, where Rambo and Kat and everybody was testing stuff out, there was a moment where her brain scans or something like that, her tests came back. Did you notice that? They came back negative. She's fine.
Yeah.
They're blank or something.
They're like, oh, the machine's broken. Her brain doesn't exist.
Like,
oh my God.
No, her test came back negative. Everything's fine with her. Like, are they talking about from her exposure inside the hex, or are they talking about the results of when she came back from being snapped and being blipped? Because if they're talking about the blip, are they implying that some people who were brought back came back with something extra? Like, that might be how they introduce mutants in the future.
In which case, we might not be getting X-Men. We might be getting the Marvel mutants. It might be that lead up into the Eternals,
right?
Which is, the
that might be leading up exactly. Now, I don't know much about the Eternals, but they could be using that as a way to explain why some humans now have powers.
Yeah, but I do stand by with Amy. I don't think you do a cameo that big and that obvious.
People would be too mad, I think, if you don't pay it off in some way. I'm not saying it has to be.
We could be surprised. They could do a really eloquent way of like, this was a different universe Quicksilver, and here's the explanation for that, and it's really sad.
If there is a big bad, like if the devil, Mephisto, whatever his name is, maybe it's both. Maybe both things are true. I can't really bring her brother back, but there is another version of him. I can make this guy look like this other version of him that I can see. Maybe, but that'll be too much explaining. I'm stuck on the fact that he's probably just the agent, because they brought up that whole, we need to get in there. We need to figure out a way to go into this thing without it changing us. And I think he's the test. Because I don't think Rambo would want to go back in there like just and be all stuck to it. But I think this guy volunteered. I think they were like, all right, good, you're a good man. Whoop, and they pushed him in there, and it worked. And he's just playing the part, because she was very specific. When the doorbell rung, they're having that argument about mind control and when you're doing something wrong and we need to stop this. And then when the doorbell rung, the first thing she could have been lying, but the first thing she said was she got defensive. I'm not doing this. I don't know who's at the door. And then it looked like real shock for seeing somebody who even closely or even lied and calling himself her brother. Because at first it was like, I had a brother. He's dead. He's dead now. And that whole thing with Rambo. Then with their kids, he's like, I have a brother. He's just far away. What's going on with this? It's just weird. I don't know.
I think I'm gonna place my money on there's some sort of third party force or person doing this that's not S.W.O.R.D. and that's not Wanda, because we kind of have some form of deniability from both sides. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I'm pissed off that my Hydra theory didn't pan out with the commercial. With the new commercial, they call the paper towels Largo. That was the kind of that was kind of teasing on Wanda about the mistake she made in that Captain America movie where she accidentally killed those people by accident. I think that was the city that.
No, I feel like all the commercials are just really directly tied to, from what little I know about this, are just like very directly tied to like her trauma.
Yeah, everything that's traumatized her. The same actors that were in there, and some people think that that's what her mother and father look like, and that's a good theory. But Olsen, is it Ashley Olsen? Elizabeth Olsen. She was in an interview, and she said that
unless you're thinking of one of the twins, because
she's one of the twins. So I'm going to call her the triplet. She was in an interview and said that we need to prepare ourselves for a Mandalorian Luke Skywalker type cameo is coming. Now, people are thinking that it was the Pietro thing. I don't think so. If you're going to compare it to that, then we're talking about the last episode. And Pietro coming back from the X-Men universe is huge. but it's not Luke Skywalker.
Because here's the thing, I had to ask who it was. I feel like if you're teasing that, you're teasing something where I would go, oh, it's so and so. With my sort of B- C+ knowledge of the Marvel universe.
Right. Eric, what do you think? Who if there was a Luke Skywalker type of cameo that's equivalent to what happened in The Mandalorian, that's going to happen on the episode 9 of WandaVision, who would you think?
Oh man, I honestly think this is it. I think it's it because it has real world implications that maybe if we're not seeing the X-Men yet, if that's a little too soon, we're at least getting the concept of the multiverse. So it's kind of in that, see if I can sum it up as well as I want to. I think this was it. I think this was the big one. Because I think this.
But why would you blow the proverbial? What I'm saying the word. I don't want to say the phrase. Never. I won't say the whole thing. Why would you do it so soon? It's episode 5. Why not save it for episode 9? I
think because they're setting up what the last back half of the season is going to look like, and what the properties afterwards are going to look like too. I also think we don't know everything there is to know yet in the show, and that they still have plenty of surprises. We could get another cameo that we don't even see coming. That is beautiful and perfect and really makes us go,
is Luke Skywalker. Weirdly,
I'm not. If you're gonna compare it to what Mandalorian,
no, it's going to Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill is going to show up.
If Mark Hamill shows up himself as like an old version of something else.
Maybe it's WandaVision.
Elizabeth Olsen in that interview said it is Luke Hamill.
Yeah, it is Luke. It is Luke Hamill.
It's the Olsen twins. It's Mary-Kate and Ashley, and
they've already confirmed they will never be coming back to television. But either it is Mark Hamill that's going to be making a cameo.
It should be.
I gotta disagree. I don't think Pietro, even the Pietro from another universe, is that big, because like Amy said, it's a character that she had to be explained about, and maybe when the another person comes in, maybe you'll have to ask who is that guy again too.
They're pretty dumb.
If is who played?
No one's touching that one. Okay, moving on.
I didn't hear you. What did you say? Did I miss what I missed?
Oh, I said that's fair. I'm pretty dumb.
Oh no! Of course
not their high of me being like, who's that?
Sorry, I ruined the joke. I'm sorry. I'm usually better at defending you from you.
I know, it's fine. I don't care. But I hope it's Mark Hamill just like in a Hulk mask with like those big Hulk hands.
What? Oh, wasn't that on a Kevin Smith movie on Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back when he played Cock Knocker? He had a big old giant Hulk hand. But that's never mind. That's just me thinking about Kevin Smith. No, hold on. Let me look it up, because so Professor. People are wondering if it's going to be Professor Xavier. Sir Isaac. Is it Sir Isaac? Am I saying the name right? Is it Newton?
No.
I didn't want to say. I didn't want to say Isaac Newton.
Oscar Isaac.
Professor Xavier
Newton.
It's who?
What's the game?
Patrick Stewart.
Oh yeah.
Sir Patrick Stewart. I'm like Sir Isaac Newton.
Very confidently.
So people are wondering if it could be Patrick Stewart, because he had a meeting with Marvel some years ago when they were in pre-production with WandaVision, and he said, we had a meeting. I talked to Kevin Feige, but no, we're not doing anything. He could be lying. So if that is Pietro from that universe, maybe Professor Xavier is going to come out through that.
They did keep Peter's under wraps. I mean, that did not get leaked out whatsoever.
Would Professor Xavier from the X-Men be a Luke Skywalker level cameo?
I would know who that was.
Exactly. Or people are also speculating, or maybe it's now I got to look it up again.
Sir Isaac Newton.
Sir Isaac. Or maybe it is, nope, I got the wrong guy. What's his name? What is his name? Not Gandalf. Got the actor who played Magneto.
Ian McKellen as Magneto?
The guy, who played Magneto.
Ian
McKellen. That's who I was thinking of first. Or it could be Ian McKellen, because in the comic books, Magneto is their father, Pietro and Wanda's father.
It's gonna be someone with a knighthood. That's all I know.
So if
knighthood or bust, baby.
What if it's Ian McKellen? What if it's dear old dad? Go ahead.
That would be big.
It'd be huge. And with Pietro showing up, that version of him from the X-Men, and him admitting that he was the son of Magneto, have Ian McKellen show up. Kids, get your ass out of this bubble and, stop this right now.
I'll turn this bubble around.
Yeah. Dad, do a whole, like a 90s sitcom thing, where the music plays in the back. Family Matters kind of a, did I do that? Kind of a thing. I think that would be hilarious. That's just me. But what about, okay, so moving on to the future, what do you think, what do you expect for episode 6, 7, 8, 9? What do you think is going to happen?
I gotta be honest, at this point, the show has me pretty fully like, I don't know, man.
Can't predict it anymore?
No, I feel, like I said, I feel like it's going to get, like the focus is going to keep pushing more and more towards away from like the TV show element. And like things will keep kind of cracking around her. And maybe she'll have to fight Vision. That'd be wild. That's my prediction. There we go. That's my hot take.
A big fight like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie style. That's going to lead
That's
into.
The one.
Oh yeah. What about you, Eric? What do you speculate?
I think the mystery of Westview is going to get unraveled, and I think we'll know the rules and the scoreboard for what's to come next.
My predictions are threefold. She did kill the dog. That is an agent of S.W.O.R.D. That's pretending to be her brother. And once she figures out that he is an undercover agent pretending to be that invokes the and sullies the memory of her dear Pietro, she's gonna kill him. Could you imagine that? If you're who pretending to be my what? Oh, you're dead. He is dead after that. She's already holding on by a thread. And you've seen what she's capable of. She gave him a warning. And if it turns out that I'm right and that's an undercover S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, she's going to if he doesn't run at the speed of whatever in the next episode, we don't see him do any kind of Quicksilver stuff. I'm going to be convinced that he's not that character at all. I think he's undercover. That's just me. That's my speculation, guys. All right, that's our thoughts on this last episode. I'm not gonna rank it as my favorite. I still don't know. I'm still thinking episode 4 might be my favorite because of all the back and forth with Agent Wu and Kat Dennings' character. I just love that. I want an X-Files like spinoff between those two. I want that show. So it's not my least favorite episode, but it's not. I wouldn't even say it's my second. I don't know. I want to have to rank these episodes, but I like this episode. But it just gave me way more questions than I was ready for. And I don't know how I feel about the kids. We didn't talk about the kids. I don't know how I feel about the kids. I like the kids when they were babies. I don't like them at 10. I don't know. And I don't know if I'm going to like them in next episode either.
You get on Twitter and start like harassing those actors, Chris.
I don't like you kids. Did you see the way Wanda had to say, no, don't you grow up. No. And they were like, let's do it. You're like, what the hell? Like, maybe they're controlling everything. Maybe the Mephisto made himself those twins. And they're the twins in the hallway of The Shining.
Let's call that shot. Yeah. We're right.
All right.
We're right. We're all like geniuses.
All right. Any other last thoughts about the show or anything? That's it. We wrapped it up.
Excited to see some 90s style next week. Let's get some. What's even 90s
Friends.
style?
I'm telling you, it's going to be an "I'll be there for you" kind of an intro. Water fountain visions, like doom, they're splashing water. I'm telling you,
flying everywhere.
Exactly. Vision. The neighbor comes in with that "How you doing" line. It's going to be Friends. I believe it's going to be that. And then on episode that would be 6. And then episode 7 they'll be in the 2000s. And I think that'll be it. I don't think there's a.
Yeah, you can't go modern.
I don't think there's a difference between early 2000s and the 20 teens. I don't think there's a difference in television.
There is, but it's not distinct enough to warrant, especially not in like the sitcom world.
Yeah.
We haven't taken a big enough jump.
So I think once we're out of that, I think after the 90s, that'll probably be the end of the whole. I think the whole this is the MCU thing is going to come in and the fighting will start. But that's just me, guys. Appreciate you guys I'm sorry Joy couldn't be here. Joy just told me that she did not want to do this because she doesn't like sitting next to me that long. So no, she's at work. She's working. So she couldn't be here with us, but she wanted to be here because she did like that episode. I should have asked her to like leave me some notes or something, but I forgot to tell her to do that for me. But maybe next week we'll all get back together.
What did you think? I like the part where Chris is cracked. He murdered Joy.
Like whenever she's not here, I do a whole Wanda Hicks thing. Like, oh baby, I love you too, Chris. I would never do it. It's like Chris. That's the whole talk to the hand thing. That's me. But well, maybe next week, maybe we'll all be back together for our next double date. But right now, I have to do the third wheel thing. Guys, I appreciate you for checking us out and listening to this episode of our recap of episode 5. Let's see you guys again next week, and let's see if we can figure out we'll discover next week who was right and who's gotta eat crow. We're gonna figure all that out. So place your bets. Place it on me because I'm right. They don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, guys.
If you like what you saw, make sure to subscribe to the channel and please drop a like on this video. It really does help us. Also, don't forget you can turn on notifications so you don't miss a single review, react, why is that trending, or we got your mail.